Things are getting worse and worse for Donald Trump in the Middle East. Iran managed to break through the United States blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. While Donald Trump is being told that American troops are not letting a single Iranian vessel through the strait, at least 34 tankers linked to Iran have passed by American warships stationed at the border of the Arabian Sea, blocking the movement of ships to Iran. Among them are several tankers that exported Iranian oil worth nearly $1 billion. Moreover, the Iranians themselves boast that this week 2 fully loaded Iranian tankers left the Persian Gulf, passed by the American blockade, and joined a group of ships that managed to bypass the American warships. But how exactly the Iranians managed to do all this is what we're discussing. My name is Alexei Pecci. Let's discuss this topic together, but before we start, please subscribe to this channel, like this episode, and leave any comment under the video. Also, subscribe to my Telegram channel Pecci News. The link to it is in the description of this video. So, let's go through everything step by step. As you know, on April 12th, Donald Trump announced the start of a naval blockade of the Hormuz Strait, or to be precise, a blockade of Iran's ports and coastline. Trump stated that the US would block any ships that pay Iran illegal fees for passing through the strait. And as of April 22nd, Trump reported that the strait is open, but under the full military control of the United States of America. Iranian ports and ships cooperating with Tehran are being blocked. The goal of the blockade is to put maximum pressure on Iran to reach a new agreement, and Trump emphasized that the blockade will not be lifted until the negotiations are completed. And if we go to the website of the United States Central Command, which is responsible for the military blockade of the Hormuz Strait from the US side, we will see the latest message dated April 19th. It states that American forces operating in the Arabian Sea imposed a naval blockade against a cargo ship under the Iranian flag that was trying to head to an Iranian port. And then I'll quote, «Inni shakku enyi I Центрального командования». A U.S. Navy guided missile destroyer intercepted the ship Tulska, which was passing through the northern part of the Arabian Sea on its way to Bandar Abbas, Iran. American forces repeatedly warned the ship under the Iranian flag and informed it about the violation of the American blockade. After the crew of the Tulska ignored repeated warnings for 6 hours, the destroyer Spruance ordered an evacuation. Spruance disabled the Tulska's engine by firing several rounds from the Mk-45 5-inch gun at the ship's engine room. Later, U.S. Marines from the 31st Expeditionary Corps boarded the Defiant vessel, which is still under U.S. custody. Since the beginning of the blockade, American forces have ordered 25 commercial vessels to turn back or return to Iranian ports. But later it turned out that the Iranians managed to break through the blockade after all. The Financial Times conducted its own investigation and found that at least 34 Iran-linked tankers passed by American warships stationed at the edge of the Arabian Sea, blocking the movement of vessels. The data can be verified using the Vortex platform, which tracks maritime traffic. Among them are several tankers that transported Iranian oil worth nearly $1 billion. And here we realize that the number of tankers that broke through the blockade in both directions exceeds the number of those that the U.S. Navy ships stationed along the notional border of the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Sea sent back under threat of force. The U.S. Army Central Command reported that since the start of the blockade, it has ordered 28 vessels attempting to leave Iran to turn back. To return to port, meaning the effectiveness of the blockade is less than 50%. Donald Trump, in a recent interview with CNBC, called the American blockade a tremendous success. He promised not to lift this blockade until Washington reaches a final agreement with Tehran. The ban on ships leaving Iranian ports and entering them was introduced on April 13, and on April 16 the U.S. announced that they would target the industry as well. Tankers of Iran's shadow fleet, as well as ships carrying cargo that Iran could use during the current military conflict. After that, a container ship was detained in the Gulf of Oman. I talked about it. By the way, this is the container ship that left a Chinese port where chemicals needed to produce solid fuel for Iranian missiles are loaded. And Trump has already said that yes, of course, there was a surprise on board that container ship. And in addition, in the Indo-Pacific region, the Americans boarded a sanctioned tanker. But according to Vortex, at least 19 tankers linked to Iran still left the Persian Gulf, passed through the Hormuz Strait and the Gulf of Oman. And at least 15 more entered the Persian Gulf, heading to Iran from the Arabian Sea. It has been confirmed that at least 6 of those that left the Gulf were carrying almost 11 million barrels of Iranian oil. Iranian oil, let me remind you, is sold at a discount to the benchmark Brent, and with a $10 discount, this volume should bring Iranians about $1 billion in revenue. In turn, Iran stated on Wednesday that the naval forces of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps detained 2 commercial vessels and escorted them into its territorial waters. Iran is also blocking the movement of ships but through the Strait of Hormuz, which it controls. And on Wednesday morning, British maritime authorities reported that 2 vessels were attacked in the strait. The statement, however, does not mention their detention, but the Greek Ministry of Maritime Affairs denied reports that one of the attacked vessels, owned by a Greek company, was seized by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. In addition, it is reported that the super-large Iranian tankers Hero 2 and Hadi, which crossed a U.S. designated boundary and entered the Arabian Sea on April 20, were detected. It is noted that together these 2 vessels are capable of transporting up to 4 million barrels of Iranian oil. And now, according to Bloomberg, the same tanker Hero 2 was last detected over a month ago when it was heading north. Meanwhile, the tanker Kadi last transmitted its location data near Khor Fakkan at the end of February. Therefore, experts conclude that Iran's shadow fleet simply sails with their transponders turned off, and the Americans simply can't see these tankers at sea, and that's how they simply bypass it. So, we understand that the blockade is ineffective because you can't block the open sea, and the Iranian tankers just disable all tracking systems and calmly pass by. Other ships, by the way, are also testing the capabilities of the US. The liquefied gas tanker Jay's Summer, which is under American sanctions, also passed through the strait calmly on Tuesday. Tracking system data shows that on Wednesday it crossed this imaginary US blockade line. It is also reported that the cargo ship Lian Star, sailing under the flag of Gambia, which passed through the Hormuz Strait on the same day, is near this border and is moving along the Iranian coast. This ship was also under sanctions. But in the meantime, Trump stated that a deal with Iran is impossible if the United States lifts the naval blockade of the Hormuz Strait. According to Trump, Iran wants the United States to open the Hormuz Strait, which would allow Tehran to earn not $100 million a day. At the same time, Trump notes the Iranians are trying to save face by publicly declaring their desire to keep the strait closed. But essentially, we see that the blockade is not completely effective. I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments below this episode. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like. If you want to support the work of this YouTube channel and consider its work important and necessary, you can leave a donation, become a sponsor of this channel, or donate in any way that's convenient for you. All links and details are in the video description. I appreciate any support you can give. And subscribe to the Peachy News Telegram channel. The link is also in the video description. That's all for now. Take care. Goodbye, everyone.